The fences aren't short or anything like that, and you still got to hit it, you know, a little bit.
Everybody knows that ball jumps in Colorado. I mean, everybody knows it. You ask any player in the league, and everybody feels like if they could play half their games here, they would have better numbers than they do.
Well, Larry, Dante Bichette has taken a little heat this year for hitting so many of his home runs here at hitter-friendly Coors Field. I guess it's sort of a predictable
response. And it depends on your perspective.
Yeah. Chipper Jones hits a ground ball toward Eric Young. The first in time.
Sometimes you will see a discrepancy from home to road for a player that doesn't play in a hitter-friendly park. And I would venture to say a lot of the home runs Bichette has hit here at home would have been home runs in other parks as well.
But you can tell by that comment how sensitive he is to that issue after hearing so much about it all year. And you can also tell how much David Justice enjoys coming here.
Pretty consistent results there among all the players on the Rockies team.
Fred McGriff is 0 for 2. He has popped out to short and struck out in the top half of the 5th inning. Braves on top 3-0.
Chipper Jones with 2 home runs in last night's game. How many do you think one or none or both would have gone in Atlanta?
Well, the first one I think maybe would not have gone out. That first one just barely made it into the first row of seats out there in right field. Second one, I think. Well, I don't know. Second one too. Right center. Maybe neither one of them would have gone.
They were very high, and the ball can carry well in Atlanta. Atlanta has some altitude too, but it doesn't always carry like it does here.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Fred McGriff. 1 man out. Inside of the fastball, 2-2.
And if Fulton County Stadium is the launching pad, what is this?
Well, I don't know. They're going to have a name for it, though. Beyond Coors Field, believe me, there will be a nickname for this place. Just like the Blake Street Bombers have come up with their own nickname in one short year. It's the street that runs right alongside this ballpark. 3-2 the count now on Fred McGriff. Looking at some of those Blake Street Bombers even as we speak. Here comes the 3-2 now to Fred McGriff. And he strikes him out. Lance Painter picks up his 4th strikeout. Second time he's gotten Fred McGriff. Reds and Dodgers still tied. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Mariners and the Vince Coleman home run still leading the Yankees, and still no score in Cleveland. Here is David Justice, who flied to center in the 1st inning and walked in the 3rd.
Painter has some good lively stuff here tonight. He's got a lot of movement, late movement. He's got some velocity, but his control has certainly not been as good as Glavitt's.
0-1 the count on Justice. Dante Bichette wearing a glove out there in each hand on this cool night. Could be interesting if a throw is necessary. As a call strike to Justice and 0-2.
Certainly wouldn't want to pitch with a glove on my hand, although a white glove might be nice.
Justice steps back in behind him, the count 0-2.
Wear that Johnny Allen white sweatshirt and a white glove would be effective.
Justice just got a piece of that one. The count remains 0-2 on David. 3 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta. No runs, 2 hits for the Rockies. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. And now the 0-2. Ground ball to 3rd. Right through the legs of Castilla, but he recovers, and with that strong throwing arm, still got him. Castilla lost it, found it, and threw out David Justice. A 1-2-3 inning, still 3-0 Atlanta.
Moment moment in Cleveland. We got Eddie Murray on third. Manny Ramirez at the plate facing Eric Hansen of the Red Sox. And Hansen strikes out Ramirez with a curveball. He hadn't thrown the curve for about 15 starts this year because of an injury. But it's back now, and he's struck out 4, allowing just 2 hits. Pete and Larry.
Thank you, Hannah. That's a little bit of a different ball game than they had last night.
What would you have bet on 5 innings of scoreless baseball at Jacobs Field with those 2 clubs hitting?
We've got a 3-0 ball game here. Atlanta on top. Vinny Castilla leads off the bottom half of the 5th inning. Castilla thrown out catcher to first his first time up. 1 ball, no strikes. Castilla, Girardi, and Weiss, if anyone reaches the pitcher's spot, is due up, and there is activity now for the first time tonight out in the Colorado bullpen. Little roller toward third. Chipper Jones fields, throws, and gets Castilla. Another good play by Chipper Jones, who's having himself quite a series.
This is a play where you might see an infielder go out of control. But Jones, a big guy, stays in control.
And the remarkable thing about his play at third base this year, he really never played there before. He was a shortstop when he was signed, coming up through the minor leagues. He made the ball club 2 years ago as the starting left fielder after Ron Gant left the team, and then tore up his knee in spring training, missed an entire year.
A lot of shortstops who move over to third base will tell you that they find it more difficult because of the angle.
Joe Girardi fouled out his first time. There's another ground ball. Boy, Tom Glavine is getting a bunch of those. And if you get those in this ballpark, you're doing okay. That is Steve Reed in the Colorado Rockies bullpen.
The angle at third, what makes it so difficult is a shortstop sees the pitch come in, and then he sees the batted ball come back out. The third baseman loses the ball momentarily through the hitting zone. So it just comes at him. He doesn't really see it go in and come back out the way a shortstop does.
8 of the 14 outs recorded so far by Tom Glavine have been on infield grounders, including the last 5 in a row. He got Weiss in a strikeout back in the 3rd. Here's the 1-0. Over but low, ball 2, 2-0. Reaches. Hubbard will pinch hit for Lance Painter. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and he walked him on 4 straight.
I guess if you're going to have a lapse, you might as well have it all to the same hitter and have it be the 8-hitter with 2 outs in the inning.
You know, you look at that list, a lot of people don't realize where Tom Glavine stands in relationship to his teammate Greg Maddux. Ahead of McDowell, ahead of Cohn, ahead of Randy Johnson, ahead of Roger Clemens. He is right there.
He's had a good team behind him during those years, but that is not the whole story. He has been very durable and very consistent.
Trinidad Hubbard, the pinch hitter. He came up from the minor leagues, hit .310 in 24 games with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs for the Rockies this year. Used as a pinch runner last night for Castilla. And fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. Well, Don Baylor can't complain about the job Lance Painter gave him tonight. He wanted 5 innings out of him. He got 5 innings out of him, giving up only 3 runs. And in this ballpark, that's nothing.
Most of the time, if you pitch the 5 innings it takes to qualify and give up 3 runs in this park, you will be in position to get a win.
1 ball, 1 strike now on Hubbard.
Hubbard came up through the Astros organization and was known as Trent Hubbard, a nickname. He's gone back to his given name.
Weiss gets his lead. McGriff holds him. And Gunnar throws over. Gunnar does a pretty good job holding runners. Usually goes to that slide step toward the plate, keep them from getting a big jump.
The determination for a pitcher to make, and the hitters will tell you, is does it affect your stuff? If you can't get people out with a slide step, you better let the runners run.
And the count goes to 2-1. All of a sudden, Glavin's control there in the 5th inning. Got the first 2 outs relatively quick fashion and walked Walt Weiss on 4 straight. That was falling behind Hubbard 2 balls and a strike.
Obviously, the hitters have told Glavin that he can use the slide step and still pitch effectively.
Into center field, Marquise Grissom in his tracks. For out number 3, the ball was hit hard, but Grissom there for the catch. And at the end of 5, it is still Atlanta 3, Colorado nothing. 3-0 Atlanta as we go to the top half of the 6th inning. The new pitcher for the Rockies, right-hander Steve Reed. He worked an inning in last night's game. In fact, he works an inning in almost every night's game, as you can see, by 71 appearances. That's a lot of times getting up and warming up and coming in, and he had a good year.
Most of the time, a guy who throws sidearm or below, like Reed, will be a little more durable. Don't seem to take as much out of your arm.
Yeah, they say that's the most natural way to throw a baseball. And when have you ever heard of a sidearm pitcher going out with a bad arm? Think about it. Guys that throw sidearm hardly ever have arm trouble.
Ken Tacoma, a great example of that.
Javi Lopez will lead off here in the top half of the 6th inning. He is 0 for 1. He did drive in one of the Atlanta runs with a sacrifice fly to left back in the 3rd. That wind blowing in again from left field. That's the way it was blowing when the ball game began. It shifted blowing out toward right a little bit. But now again it's blowing in. As Lopez leads off here in the top half of the 6th inning. And takes a breaking ball for a strike in the inside corner, 0-1. Lance Painter worked 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs. He walked 2, struck out 4. Over the glove of Walt Weiss in the left center field. Lopez aboard with a leadoff single.
Pitch right over the middle of the plate. That's what you hope for when you're facing a guy like this, because he's throwing from an angle that you're not really used to.
Now Ryan Glesko reached on an error back in the 2nd. Went down on strikes in the 3rd.
Just that different release point is an advantage to the pitcher. Pitch outside. The disadvantage is that, generally speaking, you cannot throw as hard sidearm or submarine as you can if you come over the top.
Yeah, most sidearmers depend more on movement. This pitch hit high in the air out to right center field. Back goes Ellis Burks to the warning track, to the wall. He's got it leaning against the wall in right center. Back to first, Javi Lopez. Ryan Klesko flirting with yet another home run. But it stayed in the ballpark, 1 out.
That ball appeared to be pretty well hit. And we may have a wind effect here. I think ordinarily this shot would be gone.
Now we showed you that breeze blowing in quite strongly now from left field, and that's going to hold up a ball a little bit. Anywhere but down the right field line. Here's Jeff Blauser, who struck out and grounded out.
You almost got the feeling as Burks chased that ball that he was prepared to start climbing the fence
again. He looked like he was ready to. Here's the pitch on the way to Blauser. Takes a strike in the outside corner. The count 0-1. Braves have gotten 2 home runs tonight from Marquise Grissom. And they lead it 3-0. We're in the top half of the 6th inning with 1 out. Lopez at first. That is something that Jeff Blauser has become very adept at. During the regular season, he was hit by pitches 12 times. Second only to Craig Biggio in the National League.
It's a great way to approach the inside pitch, too, by turning in, because as you can see from that posture, there's really no place the ball can hit you except for the elbow or the knee, where it's going to really do serious damage. You turn in, you can also turn your head away from the ball. If you try to fall back, sometimes you can get hit in some vulnerable places.
Runners at first and second. That'll bring up Tom Glavine, who was singled and grounded out. He was squaring, and he takes a strike. The count 0-1. Now we've got something else going on in one of our other division series. For an update, let's go back to Hannah Storm.
Pete, we have a pitcher's duel going on in Cleveland. Top of the fifth, Oral Hershiser in his first American League postseason game strikes out John Valentin with a man on second to get out of the inning. He's allowed 3 hits and struck out 5 through 5. No score at the Jake. Pete and Larry.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Unbelievable.
The Mr. October of pitchers.
Get all those home run hitters together in a ballpark like Jacobs Field, and you get 5 scoreless innings. And you're right, Oral Hershiser having one of his best years in a long time. And doing it for the Indians tonight. 1-2 the count now, and Glavine failed to get the bunt down. He led the Braves in sacrifice hits this year with 8.
Do you think they would continue to have him bunt?
I think
2 strikes in the count. He's a pretty good hitter, though.
He is a pretty good hitter, but I think here they're going to have him bunt again.
With most teams, once you get the bunt sign, it's on unless it's taken off. That way you don't have to flash it over and over again and give the other team a chance to steal it.
Glavine again squares, and he pops the bunt foul, and this time he does not get the job done. And that is a strikeout for Steve Reed. Out number 2.
Where they get the head of that bat out in front, and he got it back a little bit and angled down. What you try to do is keep your top hand above your bottom hand and the head of the bat out in front of home plate. That time the top hand dropped below the bottom hand, and the bat dropped back a little bit as he tried to go down the third base side, and he failed.
So there are 2 outs now, runners first and second, and here is Marquis Grissom, who has 2 home runs on the night. And 3 trips. He hit a home run last night, so he has 3 home runs in 8 at-bats in this series. Also a double last night.
You really can't let your failure to get a bunt down bother you too much, because your main responsibility is on the mound. But really, for a starting pitcher, you are expected to be a good bunter. You're not expected necessarily to get a lot of hits. So there is a little more a sense of failure when you don't get a bunt down than when perhaps you strike out trying to hit.
Foul back by Grissom, the count. Even now, 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's a lot easier to be philosophical about it when you've got a 3-run lead.
3-0, a little easy, but you can tell that Tom Glavine is still upset about that.
One of the great assets in pitching is poise and not letting things affect you. And that's why many people say that great pitchers are born and not made. A lot of it is in the disposition.
2-1 the count now on Grissom. Blauser the runner at first. Lopez down at second. 2 outs. Little dribbler down the first base line. Picked up by Girardi on the first. Close play, but in time. And that is all for Grissom. That is all for Atlanta. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. It's still 3-0 Braves.
When I first came to Denver, they told me about the Denver fans. I didn't believe it. You know, they talked about the support of the Broncos, and they've stuck with us. The very first year, you know, we win 63 ball games, and they stayed with us. And our reward to them was last Sunday walking around this field after we clinched a spot for the playoffs.
A tremendous success story here in Denver, Colorado. That's really what's enabled them to do what they've been able to do in just 3 short years. They averaged 47,000 plus per home game again this year.
And a great home record. They came from 6 runs back to win on the final day of the season to get into this playoff series. And I'm sure the fans here tonight believe they can come back and win this game.
Eric Young pops this one up. Left side of the infield. Blauser on the edge of the outfield grass. Makes the catch. 1 out in the bottom half of the 6th. This 1995 Division Series game is brought to you by Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. USSB, changing the way you look at TV. And Beechwood aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. One man out. Here's Ellis Burks. A strikeout and a fly out to center so far tonight. One of the reasons he was elevated to the number 2 spot on the batting order tonight was because of his success against Tom Glavine in his career. 4 for 8. But Glavine's gotten them both times tonight. Ahead here 0-1.
He's pitched him almost exclusively away in the first 2 at-bats, and he has gotten him out each time with a pitch inside.
Caught looking in the first inning with a fastball inside. Got him hit that same pitch in the air to center the next time. Another chance for Jeff Blauser. He's in it. Good. Whoop, that time the throw gets by Fred McGriff. And down to second goes Ellis Burks. The throw down there gets by Blauser. Backed up by Klesko. Just when we were about to say that Jeff Blauser has had a good defensive night at shortstop, he throws one away.
Well,
and that woke up his crowd, Larry.
That was an extremely difficult chance. The pickup was remarkable. And a fast runner going down the line forced him to throw this ball in a hurry. He had time and would have had it. But it will go as an error.
That gives the Rockies a runner at second with one man out. And Dante Bichette will be the hitter. This is only the second time tonight that the Rockies have had a runner down at second base. The other time came on that bloop double by Bichette back in the first inning. So Javi Lopez out to the mound to make sure he and Glavine are together on the signs with that runner down at second. Bichette has doubled and grounded out to short.
Bobby Cox has a very even hand. Sort of a low-key manager, and Don Baylor is much the same way. But the Rockies, with not much playoff experience, showed some jitters last night. They made 4 errors. The Braves made 1. Now in this game, each team has made 1.
Bichette so far in this series 3 for 6, but the National League leader in home runs has yet to homer and has yet to drive in a run. He has an opportunity here with a runner at second. One man out.
Inside.
And missed him there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tom Glavine in this ballpark this year, counting regular season starts, has now pitched 21 1/3 innings and given up only 2 earned runs. Here's the 1-1. Is outside. The count 2-1.
How tall would you say Dante Bichette is?
5'11", 6 feet.
They list him at 6'3". He's a lot taller than he looks because he is so thick. He is really strong.
Here comes the 2-1. That's fouled away. 2-2. He is also a very aggressive hitter, as we had pointed out a couple of times. Doesn't walk very much.
22 times during the regular season. He drew a very important walk.
Yes, he did.
Last night's game.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Bichette. A runner at second, 1 man out. Rocky is trying to get something going here against Tom Glavine, who has shut them out to this point. Here comes the 2-2 pitch on the way. Just missed. And the count 4 on Bichette now 3-2.
That was really close. That's one of the few pitches Glavine has made that's been in the area of a strike that has not been called a strike.
Jack's gun records it at 91 miles an hour. We told you earlier, Glavine about 4 miles an hour more in his fastball now than he had 5 years ago. Here comes the 3-2 on the way to Bichette. Looping fly ball, shallow center field. Here comes Grissom, can't get it, base hit. Now a chance for a play at third. The throw there will not get Ellis Burks. Runners at first and third with 1 man out. Larry Walker will be the batter, but before he steps in, we've got some more news from the Storm.
Pete, we finally got a score in Cleveland. Bottom of the 5th and 2 on for Indians shortstop Omar Vizquel. The double to bring across 2 runners, including the speedy Kenny Lofton, who scores all the way from first. It's the first ever postseason hit for Omar Vizquel, and it's a huge one. Cleveland takes a 2-0 lead. Pete and Larry.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. The Indians trying to go up 2 in that series. First and third, one out here. Rockies fans have come to life. Here's Larry Walker. He was grounded out twice, once to the pitcher, once to first. And he swings and drives one deep to right center field and way out of here. This game is tied as Larry Walker connects for a 3-run homer. Told you a 3-run lead is nothing in this ballpark, and this is why.
This is one of those home runs that would have been out of any ballpark.
Tie game 3-3. Andres Galarraga has struck out and grounded out to short. And he takes the first one outside, ball 1. 442 feet, the estimated distance of that Larry Walker home run. The 1-0, fouled off the end of the bat. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So the error does indeed come into play here. It allows the Rockies to score that extra run that ties the game. The error that was made earlier by the Rockies did not allow the Braves a run.
Now the 1-1. Galarraga lines one right center field. Marquise Grissom there for the catch for out number 2. And the parade of home run power continues as Vinny Castilla steps in. He has been held off base tonight, 0 for 2, thrown out catcher to first, thrown out third to first, but Larry Walker is determined to get his Rockies into the National League Championship Series because he knows that his Montreal Expos would have gotten there last year. At least he believes they would have. They were 6 games up on Atlanta when play came to a halt. He had a very disappointing October a year ago. 1 ball, no strikes. You know, all 4 of those players who were let go by Montreal because of the salaries are in postseason play. Larry Walker here, Marquise Grissom out in center field for Atlanta, John Wetland pitching for the Yankees, and Ken Hill on the Indians pitching staff.
Hill took sort of a roundabout route to the playoffs through St. Louis.
2-0, the count now on Castilla with 2 outs, 3 runs in, and the Larry Walker home run. And it's 3-0. Fresco back to the edge of the track. He's got it. And that's it for the Colorado Rockies in the bottom half of the 6th inning. But Larry Walker ties it up with 1 swing of the bat. And we'll return to the 1995 Division Series, the Braves and the Rockies, after this from your local station.
Thursday.
We are tied 3-3 going to the top half of the 7th inning, and here's tonight's MCI proof positive replay. Listen to the crack of the bat off Larry Walker. Boy, did he get all of that one, 442 feet. And one of the Blake Street bombers has struck. We've got a brand new ball game. Mark Lemke leads off the 7th for Atlanta. He has walked, singled, and grounded to third. Steve Reed out there for his 2nd inning, and the first pitch is fouled back 0-1. Despite the enthusiasm of the fans here in Colorado, Larry, the game that Tom Glavine was pitching had kind of lulled the crowd into a silence, but Larry Walker's swing
he brought him right back into the game.
Might have warmed up this ballpark about 8 degrees. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lemke.
Just the Braves are not the type of team that is going to be intimidated by one long home run.
Into right center field. Late jump by Ellis Burks. But he gets there. Lemke retired. One down. And that'll bring up Chipper Jones. And with this situation developing again where Chipper Jones, who has more power from the left side of the plate than the right side, followed by all those left-hand hitters. Don Baylor on his way to the mound. And Bruce Ruffin will enter the game to face Chipper Jones with one out and the base is empty, and a tie game here in the top of the seventh.
It's tough to describe a headache.
Another tie ball game now at Yankee Stadium. Bottom of the fifth. Mariners up 1-0. 2 outs for Bernie Williams. He had 3 hits last night. Comes through tonight with an RBI double off Andy Bennis. Wade Boggs comes in to score to tie the game up at 1. It's the 3rd RBI of the series for Bernie Williams. Another tie ball game for you, Pete and Larry.
Thank you, Hannah. We've got one here, too.
We got 3 tie games and the other one 2-0.
That's the way it should be. Bruce Ruffin, the new pitcher, worked 2/3 of an inning in last night's game. Got a double play ball. Actually only faced one hitter. And Chipper Jones, the batter, with 1 out. A count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Chipper tonight has hit into a force play, singled, and grounded out. 1 for 3. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Braves. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Rockies.
Ruffin really had good stuff in last night's game, but he only pitched a 1/3 of an inning. Now he comes into a game where he would be the 3rd hitter up for the Rockies in the 7th.
Right side and beyond the reach of Eric Young. Base hit to right for Chipper Jones. And that is his 2nd hit in 4 trips tonight. And you can see what's going on tonight in these division series games. Everything about as tight as it can get. Those 2 games tied. The Indians up only 2-0 in the 7th. We've got a 3-3 tie ball game here.
And believe me, a 2-0 lead at Cleveland over Boston is not a comfortable lead.
Do you think Chipper Jones is having a good time in these division playoffs? Did you see the look on his face after that base hit? He loves this stuff. Here's Fred McGriff. Fred's had a rough night. He's 0 for 3. He's popped to short and struck out twice. All 3 of those at bats coming against Lance Painter. Faces another lefty, Bruce Ruffin.
Roy Campanella once said, you've got to be a man to play Major League Baseball, but you've got to have a lot of little boy in you, too. And in Chipper Jones, the performance speaks to the man, the facial expression to the little boy.
Here comes the 0-1 to McGriff. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's chilly out when you're blowing on your hands, even when you're wearing gloves. Back during the break when Ruffin came in to warm up, Larry Walker out in right field went back to the bullpen bench. They got a heater back there.
Chipper Jones is from Jacksonville, Florida. You don't get a lot of this weather there.
Now, Larry Walker should be used to that. He's Canadian. Here's the 1-1. Low again to McGriff, 2-1 to count. We're in the top of the 7th. 3 runs, 7 hits for Atlanta. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Rockies. Each team has made 1 error. There's one of the dugout heaters. Tell you what, these dugouts here at Coors Field, you could just about live in them there. Just like trailers. Here's the 2-1. And that just missed.
That looked like a pretty good pitch.
Now Ruffin wanted that call. 3-1 to count. 92 miles an hour on the Jugs gun.
But you feel that when you face a hitter of the quality of McGriff, you need to get every strike that you can throw.
Because now he's got to come in with something behind 3-1. And he missed low, ball 4.
There's such a great difference in a 2-2 count and a 3-1 count. A 3-1 count, the hitter's just looking for the pitch he wants to hit. He's going to take anything else. 2-2 count, he feels like he's got to swing at anything close.
That's the most often used bullpen phone in baseball. That of the Colorado Rockies. They went to the bullpen more times this year than any team in the National League, and they're carrying a 12-man pitching staff in this division series. And we're going to get some more activity out there as David Justice steps in. 0 for 2 with a walk. In the shallow right field. And going to hold the runner at third as Larry Walker with a strong throwing arm.
Chipper Jones wanted to score.
He wanted to.
But
a guy with 13 assists out there in right field named Larry Walker is going to make any third base coach cautious.
I don't think Jimmy Williams ever had any doubt as to what he was going to do in that situation, because Jones had to hold momentarily to make sure the ball was going to get over Eric Young.
So now the base is loaded with 1 man out. And Javi Lopez, the batter. Seattle's gone up on New York now 2-1. Lopez a single and 2 trips, also a sacrifice fly. Infield wants a double play. Down low, ball 1.
It would appear going in that the American League Division Series are more evenly matched than the National League Series. But with the quality of the Rockies and the Dodgers, that may not turn out to be true.
Larry Bernard's going to buy some time for his bullpen.
Kurt Leskanic. And he's been on that roller coaster ride these last few days. Given up some winning hits, and he's also picked up some saves.
It's really interesting the way that Don Baylor has used his bullpen this year. He's used all different pitchers as his closer. He had Bruce Ruffin out there early in the year. Then Ruffin came up with an arm injury. Darren Holmes took over. Last part of the year, Kurt Leskanic had that role. 7 different pitchers out of that bullpen for the Rockies this year have at least 1 save. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the count even on Lopez now, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Whitey Herzog started that concept, bullpen by committee. Most managers prefer to have a designated closer. Makes things a lot easier. But if you don't have a Lee Smith or a pitcher of that type, sometimes you can get more effective performance by using a combination.
Yeah, even if you look at the Atlanta Braves, with all the success they've had in the 90s, 91, 92, 93, look at all the different people they've had out there. Alejandro Pena was the closer for a while. Mike Stanton was the closer for a while. Greg Michael was the closer for a while. They got Jeff Reardon.
Those guys that go out there and save 30 games or more year after year are rare.
Hard to find. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Bruce Ruffin reaching back for a little extra on that 1-2 fastball. Gets a huge strikeout of Javi Lopez. And now there are 2 outs with the bases loaded. And Ryan Plesko, the scheduled hitter, he's going to be pinch hit for by Mike Devereaux.
No, there's nothing fancy about that pitch. He just reared back and fired. And Lopez was late.
The Jugs gun recorded that one at 92 miles an hour. And now Mike Devereaux, the right-handed bat, up to pinch hit for Ryan Plesko. Devereaux 0 for 1 in the game last night. .255 for Atlanta this season after coming over from the Chicago White Sox.
And of course, he is an outfielder, so he can stay in the game and play left field. You don't have to use 2 players in this move. And Devereaux is a superior outfielder to Plesko.
Bases loaded, 2 men out in a 3-3 game. The pitch to Devereaux is taken for a strike, 0-1. Been an interesting performance by Ruffin. He gave up the base hit to Chipper Jones, then lost 2 left-hand hitters.
He almost looked like he wasn't quite warmed up when he came in, because his pitches have a lot more snap now than they did when he first came in.
Walked Fred McGriff, gave up the base hit to Justice, but then he struck out Lopez. Fly ball along the line and right, long run for Larry Walker. It's going to make it up into the seats finally. And the count 0-2. So after losing the 2 left-hand hitters, he strikes out Lopez, a right-handed bat. And now he's ahead 0-2 on Devereaux. And here go the Rocky fans again, back on their feet. Here come the 0-2 pitch. Old bouncing ball slowly toward third. Castilla throwing across to first, and Ruffin is out of it. great job of pitching by Bruce Ruffin. Braves leave him loaded, still tied 3-3.
In a moment, first a wild one at Yankee Stadium. Tied at 1, top of the 6th, 2 outs for Tino Martinez. The opposite field single of Andy Pettit. He scores Edgar Martinez from third, and the Mariners take a 2-1 lead. It would be short-lived. Bottom of the inning, Ruben Sierra, big 2-run shot last night, and tonight a solo shot off Andy Bennis. It's his second home run of the series to tie this game up at 2. And then the next batter, Don Mattingly, playing in his first ever postseason. This is his 4th hit of the series. He has a solo home run, so the Yankees have taken a 3-2 lead. The Yankee fans have responded by throwing things onto the field, so Lou Piniella has removed his team temporarily from the field. In the 6th, Pete.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. What a strange development in that game. There's Joe Girardi being thrown out at first by Jeff Blauser. 1 out here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Mike Devereaux.
Might be something would happen when the other team hit a home run.
Yeah, surprising. Mike Devereaux in left field after pinch hitting for Fresco. And Walt Weiss, the batter, was struck out and walked. We are still tied here, 3-3. Braves had a 3-0 lead. 2 of those runs coming on Marquise Grissom solo homers, but Larry Walker tied up things with 1 swing of the bat. The 6th inning, a 3-run shot. 1 ball, no strikes on Weiss. Jason Bates has moved on deck. He will pinch hit for Ruffin. Here's the 1-0. 2-0. On the way, and there's a strike in the count 2-0 on Walt Weiss.
Lavin doesn't concede much. Weiss walked 98 times during the year, doesn't have much power. 2-0. A lot of pitchers would probably challenge him down the middle. Lavin still shot the corner.
Now the 2-1 delivery. It's fouled back. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Walt Weiss. Ball out to short. It was at a line drive. Line drive. Thought it hit the plate, but it didn't. It was a liner to Blauser, and there are 2 outs. And that'll bring up Jason Bates to pinch hit. We're going to see the updates on the other games. The Yankees now on top. The Indians holding on to that 2-0 lead behind Oral Hershiser as they try to go 2 up on the Red Sox.
2 ties, a 1-run game, and a 2-run game.
Here is Jason Bates.
And in general, on this night in baseball division series history, it's been a pitching story.
It really has been. You got the shutout working in Cleveland. You got a 3-2 game at Yankee Stadium, a 2-2 game at Dodger Stadium, and a 3-3 game here. And this is the most illogical place for a pitcher's night. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Jason Bates.
In general, it's been a hitter's year. You might have expected with teams like Seattle and Cleveland. And, of course, any team here, Braves and Rockies, some high scoring. Not so.
2-1 now.
Of course, it's not over yet either.
That's true. A lot of things can happen here quickly. Here comes the 2-1 pitch now to Jason Bates. And it misses outside to count 3-1. Walked only 1 in the game. He walked Weiss back in the 5th inning. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and there's a liner over shortstop Jeff Blauser in the left field for a base hit.
Bates has been a very pleasant surprise. I think he's here in the big leagues maybe a year or maybe 2 years sooner than the Rockies thought he might be. And he has been a contributor. An infielder, a switch hitter, and he's got some clout.
And that base hit gets the Atlanta bullpen up. Brad Klontz has begun to throw. Eric Young, the batter, he is 1 for 3, a single back in the third.
The big advantage for the Braves going into this game was in the starting pitchers. Lance Pater, rather inexperienced pitcher, going against Tom Glavine, a Cy Young Award winner. That advantage has been canceled by the Walker home run. This is an even game right now, not just in score, but in the way it figures to play out.
Canceled by the Walker home run and canceled by 5 good innings from Lance Pater.
Right.
Who kept the Rockies in this game.
But there's no way to say how it will play out, but you would think that the Rockies are the Braves equal in terms of hitting, and the bullpens are roughly equal, so it's anyone's game right now.
There's the 1-0, little chopper out towards short. On the short hop, Blauser has it, goes to second in time for the force. And that's all for the Rockies in the 7th. We stay tied here at Coors Field, heading toward the top of the 8th. For the top half of the 8th inning, you look at Chipper Jones in the Atlanta dugout. Will he be the National League Rookie of the Year? The main competition expected to come from Dodger pitcher Hideo Nomo. You see the numbers on both of them. And before the game tonight, we had a chance to ask Chipper Jones just how important was it to him to win the Rookie of the Year award.
Well, it'll be a tremendous honor. It's something that I've set my sights on ever since I was drafted in 1990. I got to see David Justice and the kind of numbers he put up win the award, and I just told myself that when and if I ever got the chance, I was going to go all out to try and win.
It's going to be an interesting ballot.
It sure is, and the numbers would tell you that it's a pretty even race.
Meanwhile, we have a new pitcher, Curtis Leskanik, who was the losing pitcher last night. We have a pinch hitter for Atlanta, Luis Polonia, batting for Jeff Blauser with Dwight Smith on deck. He will bat for Tom Glavine. And the 1-1 to Polonia, ripped foul. That almost picked off first base coach Pat Corrales. Count goes to 2-1. You see how many games he appeared in. These Rocky bullpen pitchers can't complain for lack of work.
They might complain about the opposite, but they don't.
Here's the 1-2 now to Polonia, fouled away. It remains a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you think about the Rookie of the Year, and it's not like the most valuable player and the Cy Young, because the Cy Young is a very prestigious award on its own merit.
That's fouled away. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Polonia.
There is a Rookie Pitcher of the Year award, but it's not like winning the Cy Young.
No.
So you almost have to consider pitchers a little more for the Rookie of the Year than you might for the most valuable player.
Here's the 1-2 again to Polonia. He takes it on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. Leskanik backdoored him there. And Polonia not too happy with the call, but he's out of there on strikes, and Dwight Smith will now pinch hit for Tom Glavine. Sunday, NBC Sports presents another exciting NFL doubleheader starting at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Future Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Montana and Super Bowl champion coach Mike Ditka join hosts Greg Gumbel and Ahmad Rashad as they preview Week 6 action. Headlining the NBC schedule, it's the Colts against the NFL's only undefeated team, the Miami Dolphins. Also, the Browns battle Detroit where Seattle faces Oakland, or other regional action. Check your local listings for the games in your area. Dwight Smith had a run-scoring single that briefly gave the Braves the lead in last night's game. Pinch hitting for Glavine here. With 1 out and the bases empty in the top of the 8th, still tied 3-3. In for a strike, 2-1. Leskanik, the 4th pitcher to work for the Rockies. And it goes to 3-1 now from Dwight Smith. Unlike a lot of pinch hitters, and we've talked about this last night, Larry, unlike a lot of pinch hitters who like to go up there and swing at the first pitch in the strike zone, Dwight Smith, the guy that likes to work the count deep. He's done it again here, 3-1. Laces this one left center field. Long run for Ellis Burks. Diving try out there. He can't come up with it. Dwight Smith on his way to second. Here's the throw. He slides in safely. And Dwight Smith delivers his second pinch hit of this series. And let's see if Ellis Burks is all right. He's not gotten up yet out in left center field.
Burks is hurt. It looked upon watching the play that Dwight Smith might be the guy hurt. He slid late and hard into second base.
Don Baylor and Dave Chilati, the trainer for the Rockies, head out there to see what's wrong with Ellis Burks.
Well, let's take another look. A slicing ball into shallow left center. Burks got the extension.
Oh, that ball might have hit him in the face.
He got a glove on it.
Did that ball hit him?
Either that or he ducked it and hit his face down into the turf.
Almost like a whiplash effect. And they continue to examine Ellis Burks. It appears he'll be okay. Just a little shaken up. And the smile from the trainer, always a good sign. As is a smile from your teammate. Reds and Dodgers still tied 2-2. They're in the top of the 8th. Yankees holding on to their lead. Don Mattingly having a good night. And the Indians still 2-0 over the Red Sox. Hershiser has given way to Taveras in that game. Here in the top of the 8th in our game, tied 3-3. A runner at second. Marquise Grissom will be the batter. And what a night he has had, Larry. First inning, first pitch. Off of Lance Painter.
Fastball away, and Grissom gives it a ride, 1-0.
Fourth inning, a 1-0 pitch from Lance Painter.
And a good pitch, but Grissom gives that a ride, 3-0.
But Larry Walker's 3-run homer in the bottom half of the 6th inning have tied things up, and we're now in the top of the 8th. Grissom, the hitter, with a runner at second, 1 out. Ball, no strikes.
Good stop there by Girardi. He's a very mobile catcher.
One of the long line of catchers in the major leagues out of the Cubs organization.
Another interesting thing about this night in baseball, almost all of the games are proceeding at the same pace. We're on the 7th, bottom of the 7th or the 8th.
Les Cannick delivers the 1-0 and caught the inside corner. It's even now, 1 ball, 1 strike on Marquise Grissom.
And the question is, will he face Maddox again? Will he continue to be a teammate?
1-2.
What's the word of the Braves camp about Grissom?
A lot depends on whether or not he will be given a full year's credit of service. He can't become.
They don't know if he's a free agent or not.
Yeah, he can't become a free agent unless they call the 144 game season a full year. If that's the case, then he's eligible to be a free agent. If not, he is shy. Ellis Burks a little woozy out there in center field, and Dave Chilati, the Rockies trainer, heading out that way again.
We better get him out of the game.
You remember he dove for that ball off the bat of Dwight Smith and appeared to have a whiplash type injury. He appeared to be okay, but now he looks very, very woozy out there. Here's another look.
Watch how his face hits the ground.
Yeah, he took a pretty good shot there.
And you're looking at slow motion. Full speed, there's a little more impact. That's full speed.
He's going to come out of the
taking a
game.
punch right in the nose.
And Mike Kingery will check in and take over in center field.
Kingery is a very good outfielder. They now have a left-handed batter with a little less power, but they don't lose anything on defense.
And this has changed the Braves situation now with Mike Kingery, a left-hand batter, due to lead off in the bottom half of the 8th inning, followed by Bichette, and then another left-hand batter, Larry Walker. Steve Avery, a starting pitcher all season long for Atlanta, is now up in the Atlanta bullpen. The Saturday action is on NBC with the new hit Jag starting at 8/7 Central. This week, the Jag investigators probe the death of 3 Marines and find a shocking cover-up. Jag from the creator of Magnum P.I. and Quantum Leap. Catch all the excitement NBC Saturday at 8/7 Central. The 2 pitch to Grissom now is high, 2-2.
And you wonder if the long wait will affect Les Cannon.
1 man out, a runner second. Here comes the 2-2. Got him with a fastball. Second strike out of the inning for Curtis Leskanik. And that'll bring up Mark Lemke.
And high fastball, probably not a strike, but a hard pitch to lay off.
2 gone. Lemke, the batter, is walked, single, grounded out to third, fly to center. And he takes outside, ball 1. Show you how far the Rockies have come, Larry, with their ball club in just 3 brief years. Back in their very first year of existence, they have just called up Curtis Leskanik from the minor leagues. His pitch to Lemke. 1 ball, 1 strike. And in one of his very first starting assignments, he had to go up against Greg Maddux. The Rockies had never beaten the Braves. They had played something like 8 or 9 games in a row against Atlanta, lost them all. And Don Baylor, before that game, said, Leskanik against Maddux, it's not a good matchup for us at this stage of our career. Now, here's Curtis Leskanik pitching against those very same Atlanta Braves in postseason play and getting him through the top half of the 8th inning, still tied 3-3.